Can touching rice for 9 minutes a day help with your wrist and hand pain? Today I'm going to show you a 9-minute routine that will help you begin building endurance so you can get back to using your wrist and hands without pain. I'm Matt and I'm a physical therapist who has helped over 2,500 gamers, desk workers, artists, musicians, and more fix their wrist pain without medication, bracing, rest, and most importantly, surgery. My team and I have published research, studies, and spoken at medical conferences to help more providers understand how to better help individuals with RSI resolve their pain. Before we jump into the routine, I want to share some of these signs behind why rice bucket training works. And if you want to skip ahead to the routine, check out the timestamps below. Let's first start by helping you understand that a majority of RSI issues are a result of poor endurance of the muscles and tendons you're repeatedly using. The gaming, desk work, guitar, piano, typing on a regular basis at various intensity exceeds the capacity of what your muscles and tendons can handle. Think of it this way, think of your muscles and tendons as having a health bar. And every single time you click or press WASD, you're gradually losing HP. And there's things that you can do that can affect how quickly you lose HP. If you utilize a death grip, you might lose 3 HP per click instead of 1. And things like posture, your ergonomics, your overall conditioning, your sleep, and even nutrition can all impact how quickly you lose HP. And when you get to 0, that's when your tissues become irritated. And on the flip side, there's things that you can do to restore your HP. From rest to massage to stretching, icing, kinesio tape, all of those can help you restore your HP. But the bigger picture, if we zoom out, is that you can actually increase the size of your health bar by doing regular exercises to build up your endurance, which is why rice bucket exercises can help you play more and hurt less. And if you really want to dive deeply into the physiology, check out this video here where I explain more of this concept. Rice bucket training is a great tool to help you build up the endurance of the various muscles around your forearm, wrist, and hand. And this is because it can provide resistance in all directions depending on how you're moving your hand. Instead of having to utilize different tools and moving into different positions, you stay in the same position but perform different movements to target different muscles. Rice bucket exercises target both the extrinsic and intrinsic muscles of the hand. Extrinsic muscles are those that originate at the elbow and forearm and then attach at the actual hand or wrist itself, while intrinsic muscles are the smaller muscles that start at the hand and they also insert around the fingers. These muscles and tendons are typically responsible for the different types of pain patterns that we see frequently. Here are some of the most common ones. Let's get started now with the actual routine. Starting with the first exercise, we're going to be doing quick grips. And for this exercise, you're going to be performing fast, smaller quick grips that almost feel like you're squeezing the rice more through your fingers than through the entire palm of your hand. You're going to be performing this for the duration of 30 seconds. But if you're just trying this for the first time and you want to slowly ramp up, start with about 15 seconds per exercise, making the total routine about 4.5 minutes. You can really regress to the amount that you feel like you can tolerate. Next up, we have finger extensions or finger opens, and you're going to be opening your fingers into the actual rice itself, and this works on the extensors of the wrist and hand, so the muscles responsible for lifting your fingers off of your mouse or any activity that involves bending your wrist or fingers up towards the ceiling with your palm facing down. Next up, we have closed chain wrist circles. This is going to be targeting all of the muscles around the forearm, and you're going to start by rotating in a clockwise direction with one arm and counterclockwise with the other, and you're going to move in the opposite direction when you repeat this exercise later on in this routine. Do it for the duration of the 30 seconds and perform these circles in a slow and controlled manner. Exercise number 4 is an open finger twist, and it involves opening your hand like a claw as shown, putting it into the rice and twisting it towards the actual thumb. So you're rotating it towards the thumb or pronating your wrist to work on those pronators, to work on radial deviators, as well as the smaller muscles of the hand, the interossei. For exercises 5 and 6, we're repeating quick grips as well as the finger opens in order to target the wrist flexors and extensors again in this overall routine, because it is general and it's meant to target all of the muscles surrounding the wrist, hand, forearm, and elbow. As I mentioned, you're going to be repeating the finger opens. This is the same exercise as exercise number 2, focusing on extending or opening up your fingers when your hands are inside the rice to work on the top side of the hand and top side of the forearm. Next up, we're again going to be performing the wrist circles. This time, instead of rotating towards the pinky first, you can rotate the circles towards the thumb first. So right hand might be counterclockwise, left hand will be clockwise, and then repeating those circles for the duration of the 30 seconds. For this next exercise, we're going to bring our hands back into that claw position, almost looking like or feeling like you're opening a door, putting your hands into the rice, turning or twisting a doorknob, and this works on your supinators, ulnar deviators, and your interossei muscles. We call these ones kitty paws, and you're going to be performing flexion and extension, so bending your wrists up and down. So you bring your hands all the way down to the bottom or base of the actual bucket of rice, make a fist, and then you're just going to be bending your wrist down towards the ground or up towards the ceiling, so bending your wrist into flexion and extension. This is a closed chain exercise, and it works on the muscles of the forearm flexors and the extensors. Next up, we're going to be working on the radial and ulnar deviators. Those are the muscles along the thumb and pinky side of the wrist and hand. And you're going to be performing this similar to the previous exercise, but instead of moving your wrist up and down, you're going to be performing a handshake movement, bending your wrist up towards the thumb and down towards the pinky. From here, we're going to move on to start strengthening the muscles at the actual hand itself, working on the thumb muscles. And you're going to pretend like you have crab claws and focusing on pressing with the index and middle finger, pushing towards the actual thumb using the rice as resistance. Performing it for the duration of the 30 seconds. Or as I mentioned, if you're just starting out, starting with 15 seconds at a time, and it doesn't have to be for all the exercises. Some you can do more and some you can do less. Do what you can tolerate so you don't overdo these exercises for your wrist and hand. Next up, we're going to be focusing on the pinky-sided muscles of the hand, and this time you're going to be pressing towards your ring and pinky finger, again using the thumb to sort of lead the movement, pinching the rice using that pinky, ring, and thumb. The next exercise is called the starfish, which involves you opening your fingers up to work on those interossei muscles. And all you're going to be doing is putting your fingers into it, expanding your fingers out like a starfish, and having the rice provide resistance for the finger opening movement, which strengthen your dorsal interossei. The finger closes on the next exercise, and it's the opposite of the starfish. Instead of opening your fingers out, you're going to be closing them, and that works on the palmar interossei muscles. Perform that for 30 seconds. Next up, we're gonna be focusing on a little bit more strength, and you're gonna grab as much rice as possible, squeeze as hard as you can until you feel a pop of the rice shooting out of the thumb side of your fist, and repeating that for the duration of the 30 seconds. So each hold might be 1 to 2 seconds depending on how hard you squeeze. Next, we have another extension-based exercise called the talon out, where you stick only your fingers into the rice and sweep the rice towards the top end of the bucket and repeat that movement for the duration of the 30 seconds. Here we're going to be repeating the open door or doorknob based exercise, rotating towards the pinky side or working on your supinators. Remember, you're going to be performing this for the duration of the 30 seconds. If you want to start a little bit more slowly, like I've been repeating throughout this, start with 15 seconds and gradually work up. The last exercise is a full squeeze. You're just going to be going through the entire rice, grabbing and squeezing, a full range of motion, performing that for 30 seconds. And that's going to be it for this routine. I'm going to be talking a little bit about some of the other considerations when using something like this to address or prevent wrist and hand injuries. It is important to realize that this routine is more general in nature. The exercises within this routine were selected to target all of the muscles around the wrist, hand, and elbow. This can help you if you have pain in any of these pain patterns. However, for those who might only feel it in one of these regions, you may need to perform more repetitions for those muscle groups. This routine is best performed as a daily prevention or management routine. You want to start with 1 time a day if you feel you are on the weaker side or deconditioned side, and then work towards 2 times a day. Stay consistent with it for at least 4 to 6 weeks, as it takes time for you to build overall endurance. Then you can consider tapering it down. Remember, one component of recovering from wrist, hand, and elbow issues is building endurance. But managing your schedule, modifying your activities, how many hours you're spending typing, using the phone, gaming, is another major change you have to make if you want long-term relief. And if you want to learn more about this and the science behind RSI, so you can finally get back to using your wrists and hands again, then check out this video right here.